hours is when the worst pain come. If you have stress, is when you really feel it, is in the midnight hour, where you cannot call on nobody but God. You know, your deepest panic and anxiety is not in the daytime. In the daytime, everybody's at your fingertip. But in the night, according to the saying, when all shop is closed, that's where the enemy hit. But if you're like me today, you know, the best time of your life is in the midnight hours, because you have something that is bigger than everybody that's on the face of the earth. And you have something, hallelujah, which is the anointing of God to run the devil back in the hole where you come from, right to the pit of hell where you come from. Because as much power as the devil have, God give us first dominion over this. So we just got to take a stand, knowing that the devil powers come after ours. Because he didn't kick him down first. He kicked him down after. He said, let us make man. Then he says, I give you dominion over this. So we first was in charge. I don't know why some of us afraid the devil. If the Bible tells us that the enemy, the devil is under our feet, hey, that means he's not taller than us. Just put your hand on and give him one box in his head and let him know where he's supposed to be. So stay there. So all what you're tempting me with, stay right there. Put your foot down some more. And then when you put it, you just crush it. So don't worry. Sometimes we cry. And the excuse is, but we're human. Sometimes you got to tell the human side of you, back off. We're dealing with the spirit now, not your turn. I'll come to you when it's your turn. You got to speak to a lot of people in your head if you don't know about it. It's right in there. That's my best way when I'm tempted sometimes to say things. I just have to remind self, back off for a while. Let me speak. Let us make us two. Then I say, Father, in the name of Jesus, let my spirit man control the situation. See, I had to go to God first, and then I say, well, what's our conclusion now? And then I answer it. We just remain calm. Learn to divide yourself when there is problems. If I'm speaking this to a psychologist, they're going to say, I think there is a problem. I think if you're speaking to yourself, it's called some sort of disorder. Go in the Caribbean, you see how much disorder our parents have. To each child. For each child, they have what it takes to control each child. It's not disorder, it's discipline. If you find yourself wanting to stray into where God never sent you, and every day your desire is taken up on things, you got to change towards that desire. Let me tell you something. How fast do you want to go? I could make it very short for you. You got to come out sometime and talk to it. That's why you see it out of control, because you don't talk to it. I talk to mine. I will think that way when I get there. I will bring on that attitude if it's possible. So keep it down a while. Keep it down, not now. Because you see, I got to present my bodies to the Lord. This is the temple of God. And I got to have self-control and discipline. But sometimes the bad boy, which is the flesh, just want to get out of order. Want to say what it's want to say sometimes. Sometimes you just got to do like, okay, let me tell you something. Who you think you are? Check yourself. Check your status. Then you come back and say, well, glory to God, we are one. We are one in the spirit. It does not call different personality. It calls talking to the flesh. Because inside here is two. There's the spirit and there's the flesh. The flesh covers the spirit. And that bad boy is the flesh. So you got to come in alignment of the Holy Spirit. That's what the word of God says. I don't have dual personality. I have one. But I know how to step back. Go into the spirit man and then talk to the flesh. You know who is in here? You don't know, back off. Sit down for a minute. There's nothing wrong with you. You're just correcting the flesh. So the flesh could be in alignment with the spirit. Hallelujah. So I am, somebody said something to me. Fred Hammond, we are blessed. Yeah. You see, I'm looking good already. Like Fred Hammond said, we are blessed. That means both physically and spiritually. I can swing things the way I want it. Hallelujah. Now, if they say, if Bell Canada just tell me that my internet is working perfect, if I get cut off, I will be calling Bell Canada and speak with the most gorgeous voice I could ever find. That means very calm. So I sent out something. But it was not for this forum. It was for another forum. Oh, my dear Minister Oliver called me. So how's things, everybody? Everybody okay? Is everybody good? Yeah? Well, good afternoon to Doris and Veronica and Minister Oliver. Good afternoon. Okay, so I'm ashamed, right? I'm ashamed because, my phone is really making me feel embarrassed. So I got a call and I didn't even know that I got a call. So how's everything? Minister Olivet, is everything fine? Glory to God. Hallelujah. My sins has been forgiven. So I got a call today and somebody loved me on the show. And they love Veronica and they love Doris and they love Minister Antoine. And they love Minister Antoine more than me. Could you imagine? So I said, why? He says, when you mess up, she just come in and she make you look good. I said, well, that's what I'm here for, to mess up. That's my name, my life, my history. Is anything right that's go with me? It called messing up to look good. I tell you guys, when these people is here, when you all are here, I can say what I want to mess up because I know you have my back. That's why you're here. I'm smart. As a host, I say a lot of things, wrong things. But you guys just so good to me. You say, let the mercy. And then you sing the song, let praises rise on the inside. So in the meantime, while you're praying for me on the inside and hear me. Well, let me tell you guys something. I know certain things that nobody else know. And then they say, and let mercy show from the inside. So as the person going to be watching us again today, I want to say thank you because people now is calling in and they're telling us how awesome we are and how good we look. And they love the shows. So yesterday, continuation. How did last night feel? As single women going home by themselves and appreciating Valentine's. That's good. I had to push you off the show after people tell me I'm looking good on the show. No, you want to make me look bad. Say it's good. You see,
take it to another top. We take it to another level yesterday.
Oh
and
yeah.
we dug into it really, really plain. I was very clean and very, very, very to the point. But it was done to give God the glory. At the end of the day, God must take the glory out of it.
Hallelujah.
It was done to give glory to God. And I'm praying for those who, see, they're so encouraged.
I just want to thank God because on a night like this, when everybody think they must be shack up with somebody else in order to feel good, it's a blessing to be alone in certain seasons where you could really appreciate God for loving you. Because when you lie down there and God just begin to talk and he says, tonight is not your night, tonight is Valentine's night. And he says, yeah, but I want to talk. And then he comes in and he wants to talk. You know, you just give him that afternoon to be free and to man, I woke up this morning, I was like a giant. I could have lift a house, put it on my head, put it on my shoulder, and then put it down on the ground. It was just an intimate moment with the Lord. And it takes, you see, after you have children, so after you become adult, you get married, and everything is about the husband. And then peradventure, you come, you have kids, and then the husband and the kids. And then you get lost. As a woman, you truly get lost because everything that you eat, breathe, and sleep is about somebody else. And then when you get to the place of empty nesters, now you say, wait a minute, who am I again? If you don't do that quick, you pass it in the mirror, you say, no, that must be Susan. And you just go on your way. And then one day, you come to realize, my God, I'm gorgeous. Where was I all these years? Because your mother give you a name. Then you meet a boyfriend and you become sweetheart. Then you become hi honey. Then you become, yeah. So what? Then you say, could you get some stuff for me? And go like, oh, this wife again, this woman. So they stop calling you all this and they stop calling you sweetheart, they stop calling you love, they stop calling you wife, they say, oh, this woman. Then his friend down the street, Fred, is gonna say, I told you that she was crazy a long time. Didn't I tell you? That's what men say to other men. And then the kids start calling you, Ma, Mama, Mommy, Toots. Hey, that's when he does something wrong. Toots, hey, that's when my son do something wrong. And then you become, hey, lady. With the same child, you become lady. And then you become empty nester, so no sound. And then you're trying to figure out, so who am I again? You sit on the chair with a long pants full of patches and hole in it. Then you get this jersey that's been raining from since Daikin don't come when you're pregnant. With your first child, there's no reason to wait now when you're single. When you come independent and you sit down there with a glass of juice and you start to wonder, all the stain is on the shirt. I thought I washed it. Then you start to pick, oh, that was when Bobby was born, we had to give him like the antibiotic. And you're watching all the stain on your shirt. And you, as a mother, you could pinpoint every spot and know the exact child that does see that spot on your shirt. Then you sob for a while and you sob some more. And then you says, you alone, you turn left, right, no husband because he's at work. And you're alone there and you're saying, I wonder what they're eating for tonight. Oh, then I have to get up and cook. And you run and you cook. And you're with the same shirt with the same hole, and the man is saying, really? Do I want to be with that? Because now you become that in the house. And then as life go on, you become, well, I'm classy. I didn't even know I was classy. Glory to God. And you become Mrs. Who now? And you and the Lord get wrapped up, tangled up, intimacy with the Lord. And you begin to see your beauty begin to come out. And you're going like, you mean I was that beautiful? I mean, what was I wearing all this garbage clothes? Like, why? And then you get some big garbage bag and you shove everything in your clean house, clean closet, everything, God. And you say, Lord, I thank you for this space. It is gorgeous. I paint, I cover the chairs, clean sheet, clean, everything is clean. No children here now to rub it up. But God, I give you thanks. This is where I am. Have any woman been through this? And you watch your house and you go in and you come out and the house is the same thing. Clean and nice, nobody there. And you say, Lord. And then they call you. Well, we're bringing the kids over so you can babysit. You go like, hell no. And then you realize what you just said. Because the house is clean. Then they say, Okay. And you know they hear you, but you're trying to kind of, no problem. Come over, come over. Then you're asking. As soon as the door open, so what time are you coming back? I'm not there yet. And you're truly asking when you're coming back, and they say, "Oh, I'll come back about 7." And saying, "Okay, 3 o'clock now." And if I should call, it's about 6, 7 o'clock. Oh, 4:45 still. And when the time come close, you realize that a minute hand stop. You go like, quarter to. I thought I just saw quarter to just a while ago. So it should have been 10 to now. Make a mistake and call them and they say, well, oh my God, just give me a break. And then you become the worst grandmother in history. But life goes on and life goes on. Some of us are not there yet with that. And some of us have already passed that, you know? And then you grow up and you travel and you meet them, you go to spend time with them and they're asking you, but did you come like for 3 weeks? And you go like, yeah, but you're still here. I know. Can I change my flight? Can I just stay a month? And they will ask you, a month? Why? And those are the same children that you say, okay, I'm going to sacrifice for. And you sacrifice and you sacrifice and they say, wait a minute. Want the time? What time is your flight? But I thought you said in the morning because now you're old, so you're forgetting if the flight is in the morning or if it's in the evening. And you say, oh, no. Oh, you made a mistake. But I sacrificed my day just to drop you. You know what? You're going to have to take a taxi. And then you sit there with your old self now and you say, wait a minute. I never treat him that way. I never treat her that way. Is that the way that they're supposed to be treating me? And you sit down there with the tears in your eye because you know the sacrifice that you make for children. And when they turn out to be ungrateful, it hurts in a place where there's, I don't know what that spot is called, but that spot does hurt. And it hurts. And then you said, no, you're alone now. You don't know what to do. Everybody's gone. And it's you alone in the world. And you feel naked and empty and you're wondering, should I go left or should I? And then fear comes in. Now it's me alone. What if something happened in the middle of the night? What if I get sick? Now who would I call? And the fear started to come on. I'm not there yet, but I'm talking about a lot of people in the world. And they get sick and it's them and the husband alone. And there's no children to come by to say hi because they're busy with their life. And in the midst of the sickness, you would call and say, could you guys come over? And you turn left and right and there is nobody. And peradventure, if the husband died before you, you have no hope. But look to the government to say, could you guys just put me in a home? Take my house. Sell it and pay for the time that I'm there. The rest of the money, just bury me with it. I'm not there yet, but I know a lot of people in the world is right there. So let's share the program so people can come on and then they'll get from the starting. That's why I often say I thank God for the Caribbean. Because as old as you are in the Caribbean, there is the little boy across the street. And there is the little girl across the street. When you live in the Caribbean and you see an old lady and she does not have nobody in the house, there is always this little girl going over to see, what you doing today? And then she says, well, I'm making a cake. Okay, so I'll stay. And then they say, okay, I'm making sugar cake. You'll come tomorrow? And they go like, yeah. And then you become the old lady best friend. I was one of them. And then you become their friend, you dance for them, you make noise, and you make a lot of noise in the house. And it's not like, though they can stand the noise, but because they don't have a choice, they keep you around. and you become that old woman friend, and then you grow up and you move away, and that old woman grieve and die. You know, I'm talking about life because I know there's a lot of people out there that are in that position or gonna be in that position. We all gonna be in that position soon. But today I'm just talking about life and the way how things turn out when you don't expect them to turn out that way. It's called life. It's called life. Did we share already? I shared.
Yeah, I shared. Yeah, I shared. Mr. Veronica, you shared, so we all shared.
Yeah. So love prayer did not share yet. Text Manoir and share, but love prayer did not share. Mhm. So that's how we're gonna start the show today. Where you are now. Let's reminisce of when we were young.
Okay.
Let's reminisce because sometimes we need to reminisce so that people out there could hear us and they can say, "My God, you know, sitting here today because you never know who is watching the show today and they're just lonely. They're just out there full of pain, you know." So it's good like to reminisce so that when they hear those type of program, they can say, "My God, I am here now.
Mhm.
I used to be there, but I'm in a home here now. I'm sitting down here, waiting on the nurse to come and change my diaper,
Mhm.
waiting on her to feed me." You know,
Mhm. Mhm.
if my children was there. Have you ever been to a nursing home, man? And you watch the people in a nursing home and they just exist. They're not even living. They just exist. They're just there because they don't have a choice to be there.
Yes.
So they're just there.
Mhm. Mhm.
Nobody come and visit you, and when they come, they're asking, so what is in a will? What is there for me? And when you pass, you know how painful that sound.
Mm.
But
Yes, it is.
so unfortunately, this is not to reminisce. That this is just life. So today we're talking about life.
Amen. Yes, amen.
Sometimes you see the men they sit down there and the pain that the wrong that they have done, they sit in agony and yet still they're not talking. And you watch them and they sit like this with their head down with
Mm.
shame, the pressure of life.
Mm.
All they had to do is to talk to a nurse to release
Mm.
themselves so that God could come in and comfort them. Because the Bible says your latter days will be better than your former days.
Yes.
And so unfortunately, so much people get to a certain age and instead of
Mm.
letting go and let God, you hear,
Yeah.
well, you know, when I was young like you, my dear, you don't understand things. I had a friend named Susan and she destroyed me, you know. She did this to me and I did this to her, but
Mm.
so I just can't forgive her. Make a mistake and
Mhm.
ask the question, when Susan died, oh
Mhm.
yeah, she died when I was in my early 20s, but they still hold on to that unforgiveness.
Mhm.
They hold on to unforgiveness. And you
Mhm.
see, they're really staggering through life.
Yes.
Let's talk about hurts so that somebody somewhere could understand life. Who want to go, 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 go?
When we talk about our memories of childhood days, are we talking about?
We're talking about everything from then
Oh.
to now to past.
Oh wow.
People that we see as children growing up and you run to help and the old lady yeah, I want a basket because she's coming from the market or you have to help her get some water or you just have to help her wash the dishes.
Yeah. Because I can remember as I'm gonna bring my childhood memory because I got so much rich um history of childhood memories when as I grew up. As you talk about Mr. Tex with us being around the elders, which is nice. I have a variety of individuals living in my community. We have family, some are living by themselves, or some are living with relatives. But in the mix of where I grew up, I had a lot of families and a lot of adults because as a child they were older, so they were all adults. So you get a chance to interact with them. And one of the beauty about where I live is that when you're passing by the community where you are, you have to say hello to every individual family. Call them, no matter how far they live. You have to yell, "Hello, Mrs. John. Hello, Mr. Tom." And you have to yell to let them know, "Oh, and who are you? We are this family. I'm the granddaughter of Mr. So and so, Mr. So." So you have to constantly identify yourself all the time. Doesn't matter where you go, you're calling, identify yourself. And I remembered many of those people who live along the community as we walk by. You stop in and say hi to them. You stop and say how they're doing, and they would stop and say, "How is your grandparents?" You know, and you come back home, and on the way back home, you tell your grandparents who you met, who you saw, who said hi to you. That way they're aware of somebody seeing you, and that you bring me back news to make sure people are hearing about if they don't see you. And I remember as a child going up to from where I live, it'd be a pretty good walk, a pretty good walk. Now we'd have to take 3 or 2 buses to get there, but we had to walk. And I remember it was my great grandmother, very young. We had to continue taking dinner for them. They would cook, and as children would get dressed, and we would take sometimes different routes, and we would take different routes again. We meet in different family who knows us. We have to stop and say hi, and then go on. So I remember going to see my great grandmother as a young girl, and every time we go to see them both, it would bring such a joy to see them. They were lying there on the bed, but the joy about it is that you could go on their bed with them and you can talk to them. I remember that. And she would ask me 3 or 4 different times, "Who are you again?" And you got to keep reminder who you are. And she said, "Oh, you're in so dot." I said, "Oh, yeah." And then we talk again about the trees and talk about the food. She said, "Who are you again?" So I remember clearly the joy I had with my great grandmother. She was such a joy talking to her. And at the same time, watching my great grandfather doing things that we thought he wouldn't be doing at his age, but he was very active. So those times spending with them was my joy. Spending with them, just doing what they want to do, just be there, talking to them, helping them dish out the food, feeding them. It was just my greatest memory of my great grandparents that I happened to know. I had the privilege to be, and we were pretty young children, but we had to go. I think our parents sent us so we can get to know who our grandparents was. Now I'm thinking about it, is because they want us to be with them, to spend time with them as children. So it was always great for me to be around the elders. I really, really enjoy that, no matter what. And even through my ages of my years, I'd encounter, the elders. And it was always my joy. What I used to um, change their socks for them, or what I used to push them in the wheelchair, or what I used to give them a meal, or what I used to do a chore for them. I would always find it very satisfying just to do that for them. And today, even during my work career, it's my greatest joy just to go and sit with them and talk to them in the meantime you're caring for them. You talk to them and you laugh. And I remember a couple that I had in between my care. And as they talk, I would go and get my phone and Google back where they grew up, and use my phone so they can see that the church they were attending, that they would see the location where they live, and they would just sit there and just laugh. And I thought, God, this is so satisfying. So many little things that I do that was satisfying to be just watch them enjoy and other things that I do. It sometimes I just don't think of the time, and when I realize the time, I goes, oh my God, the time is going by. But the joy of just spending time with somebody as they aged, I find it very satisfying and very rewarding. And I said, Lord, I will continue to do it because I find satisfaction in look after somebody as I look through the ages and see that we all go through stages in life. And at somewhere we're going to get there. But what you do in the midst of when you're there with them, you encourage them. Really, do you find time to do the minutest things that you may think that's difficult for them? Yes, but just spend the time to do minute things for them. And that will bring a joy to your life when you do that. So that's some of my highlights of how I enjoy being around the elders, even in the church. It was just satisfying to me. It still is. I enjoy it. So no matter what, it's great to just take that tenderness, that softness, that love, and embrace somebody as they age because, it's going to turn around. But what you do now from your heart, genuinely, will make a difference. And so, I continually share with as I go along. Still, as long as there's breath in me, I will be that one to always be there to give help. And that's my take, Minister Doris.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone, and to all the listeners. Listening to that, brought back so much memories of going back and back, as a child, back in Grenada, growing up around the elderly. I remember when I was going to school, there was an old man that lived on the street, really, really old. And he would be by the street and always have a cup out. And most of the school children would pass by and they would tease him and laugh at him. But I always used to take, because back then we have all those pipes where you just get water, in certain places, and he would be sitting there. John would be familiar with who I'm talking about. He was an old man named Kush. So John would know him. He was always down up by the school or down in Lowtown, sitting by the road. And I always took his cup and put water in it for him, while other children would be laughing. So as a child, I always grew up with a sense of kindness and empathy towards people, especially the elderly. So what children used to take for a joke, for me as a child, to me, it was the just unkind and just, sad that people would do that to an old person who is begging and asking you to take a cup of water. My grandparents always taught me you must say good evening or good morning to your neighbors or to your elderly. And you used to get licks for that. If they come and say, your child is so rude, she passed and looked at me and didn't even say good morning. You would get chastised for that. That's disrespectful. Have respect for your elders. So I grew up with that mentality. I grew up with my grandparents. So my great grandmother and grandfather, they used to send me over to sleep with them and take water. Back then, we would go to the pipe and get water in a bucket and carry it on our head, or, switch it from hand to hand to carry it so you won't all fall out of the bucket before we get home. So that used to be, and then you have it on your head. You'll probably all be soaked by the time you get home because that water will be dripping side to side.
I don't do that.
So, but one of the joys it was with them and my great grandparents on both sides. After my grandfather and grandmother, one of the joys was cooking in a fireside because she was old. She had cataract removed in her eye, and of course, the surgery wasn't really good, so she ended up with one eye. So I used to cook for her. And, I think one of the greatest joys in my child is cooking in fireside. Best food you can eat. That smoked food from that smoke. And I did that. Now, that same grandmother, she lived to be 114.
Wow.
And she was still up on her feet, didn't want to go live with any of her children. She lived to bury every one of her children excepting for one, her
My
son.
God.
Yes. So she made the best sponge cake in a pot that I've ever tasted. Fire below and fire on top. And when that is finished, you would be so soft and moist and nice. I don't think anybody made a better sponge cake than my great grandmother. And I live with that memory of being around them, taking care of them, helping them. And it was never a problem. Most grandchildren would be upset or, because you don't want to be with the old people. But for me, that was never a problem. I enjoy doing it. And at one time, I had a friend who worked in the Hilarion home when it was right in Sotes before they take it to wherever it is now. Um, and she had to go on vacation one time and she asked me to fill in for her. So I had the joy of cooking for them and preparing the meals for them in that home. And it was a great joy being around them, hearing them talk, listening to them. And I learned a lot from that. So this is why now being kind to people or being sympathetic is nothing for me because I grew up around people like that and with that mentality. And I share that mentality today. I don't criticize, condemn people when I see them down and out. I don't judge them because people get in situation. We all get in situations sometimes. So I don't, when somebody asking for help, I don't come like some people. I would say, oh, well, if they had done this or that, they wouldn't be in that situation. We don't know. Because I've seen the richest people in this world who was all the way on the top and got to the bottom penniless and don't have anything. And most of them, after that, where did they turn to? God. They become preachers and they find God when they lost everything. Because now they realize God gave me, God give it and God take it. He put you up and he can put you down. And I've seen many of the stars have been to the top and now they're right at the bottom and had to start all over. But I've seen a lot of them on TV now talking about God and preaching the word of God. So sometimes it takes disappointment and downfall to really get some of us to that point. And hopefully we don't wait till that happens. We must be thankful for what we have, appreciate it, share with others, and try to teach them, the way to get to that point where we are going, and I'm always going to use myself as an example. I am going there. I'm not quite there yet, but I'm working towards that. And in time, I'll get there to the full point of where I need to be. So in the meantime, I really enjoyed my childhood days back home around my grandparents, great grandparents. It was fun and it's a joy. And everybody should embrace that. Some people don't think about the past, they want to forget it because it wasn't maybe what they wanted it to be. They may not have what they wanted, but it was a example for us and a stepping stone to look back to where we was, where we are today, how we get here, and the upbringing we had, and who mentor us to get to that point. Because our grandparents always told us things in parables, and we didn't know what it meant at that time. Because my grandfather and my grandmother used so many things that they told me when I was growing up. I didn't understand it. And you know what I used to say? Oh my God, I can't wait till I turn 18 so I can get out of here. Because you don't want to hear what they're telling you. But guess what? When I left Grenada, got to the United States, I turned 18 2 weeks after I entered the US. And did that freedom mean anything? That freedom was so wanted to get. I had all the freedom that I could have. And then you know what? I didn't care about that now because I miss my grandparents. And I think of all the things they used to tell me, the things I didn't want to hear, and realize it was for my own good. And as I made my journey in the US, I understood what they was trying to tell me and what they was trying to teach me. And I always look back today on my grandfather and grandmother who grew me up and the things they told me in life now. And I still use that as examples when things go wrong in my life or what things happen. I think back to what they tell me and really understand what they were trying to teach me then. So we must always remember our past and not be ashamed of it, whether it was poor, whether we was in a poor environment, a rich environment, no matter what it is. Be proud of our heritage and remember it. Lots of people don't want to. I hear so many Grenadians talk about, oh, what's there is for what there is for me. That is, and they talk so bad about the country. Makes me upset. Be proud of your country. Grenada will always be home, and I love my country. And I don't care what anybody say or where I live. Grenada will always be my home.
Listen to me. I hear we often use the word when we're growing up, some rich and some poor. Do you know what is poor? Do you know what is a rich house? When you're in a house that have it all, you have nothing but stress. Nothing but stress. All the claim that they claim, I have money and I have this, it means nothing. You see, when you're poor, so-called poor, the best life is yours because why? Everybody is there. We play with everybody. They pray together. They drink in all kind of cup. They eat all kind of food, and everybody dip in their hand in the same plate. That is happiness. That is richness. So-called having it all is nothing but pain. And it's one thing that I said when I was small. I prefer to be poor than to have it all. It's painful, but there, I said it. And I don't care. Veronica.
I'm just listening to the stories and it's definitely taking me back down memory lane. My experience was a little bit different from you ladies. I grew up in the home where my father was the disciplinary one, and whatever he said was the law. And a lot of our days were spent, doing chores around the house. We didn't, my grandmother lived maybe like a half a mile away from us, and I used to every now and then go and walk that way. And of course, Minister Olivet, I had to speak to everyone as I was passing through. And yes, it was seen, they would say it was disrespectful if you didn't say hello. Well, I was one of those mischievous children that did not, I would say hello once. If you didn't hear me, I was gone.
Oh, you're going to get it on the long run. When you go home.
So, I knew certain elderly people in the neighborhood, but like Sister Minister Olivet said, they were people that were strong. They worked out in their gardens and they, worked the fields and they did housework and they had house parties and, the neighbors would come together and, they would just, it was a community of people. So, it was, back in those days, I guess they looked at it as, having a good time. The women would get together and come to each other's houses and, one would bake a cake or bake something and bring it to the other one. And that one would give it, they would exchange. And so, those are the days that I grew up in. But, as far as doing for elderly, I didn't, every now and then I would sweep my grandmother's porch or, something of that sort. But mostly I had it, where, my parents would allow, it was like maybe 15 children in the neighborhood. And we would all get together, and, I grew up like a tomboy, and, I would travel the woods and, you know, jump the canals, pick up sticks and throw sticks and, make slingshots and, those type of things, play half rubber. I did those type of thing. And one of my greatest memories was the kids used to play dodgeball.
Another thing on. So when because it keep cracking in and out.
Yes, I hear it too. Doris might need to mute her phone. Unmute her. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I remember one of my fondest memories. We used to all play dodgeball, and my one of my older brothers, he was like a big, tall, heavy guy, and when he would throw that ball, oh my God, we would get out of the way because he would throw it to hit to hurt. And you had to make sure you would get it, and sometimes he would just throw so hard that the ball would hit two people at the same time. And those are my greatest memories, but not too many memories with older people. 14 until, when I got married, my ex-husband, his mother was the first person that his mother and grandmother was the first person that I had to really do anything for, as far as elderly is concerned. I would take them to their doctor's appointments, get their medication, that type of thing, maybe do a little light housekeeping, but never anything, directly with them, always indirect. So my memories were so different. But I enjoy my child. Well, let me take that back. I enjoy moments. I won't say the entire childhood because, some things I got really traumatized by. But, as far as the children is concerned, I enjoy the children. And, like I said, my father, he used to, whatever he said was the law. So we didn't talk back or anything like that. My dad would give us that look, and you knew what that looked. You knew what it meant. You didn't even have to question it. And every now and then he said, "Don't let me have to tell you a second time. Don't let it happen." So you knew to get up and do. So my childhood was much different. We while the kids in the neighborhood were, sometimes playing ball, and sometimes we just had to do what was necessary. We used to, my dad used to have a huge garden, and he would get out there and pick the snap beans and the butter beans and all that stuff. And so we had to shell peas. That's what our weekends consisted of, shelling peas, bags and bags of peas. And so we used to make a game out of it. We used to say who can have a competition on who can get through their bag the fastest. And my dad would have like 20 bags on the front porch. I mean, like, oh my God, you just peas and beans, all of that from days at a time. And we would spend our weekends like that. And once he took everything out the garden, we had to be responsible for cutting the snap beans and shelling peas and but I didn't realize then how rich we were. We had the garden, we had fresh vegetables that we didn't have to pay for. We had a pig on our little property. We had chickens and roosters and hens and all of that. We had a little goat for milk, and I mean, we just I think back now, I said we had it so, and I used to tell my parents, "Oh, I hate it here. We can't even have anything good to eat." And who knew? Now I know that was the good stuff. The kids, I would go to school and the kids would say, "Oh, I had lasagna. Oh, I had, whatever, oh, we went to McDonald's." My dad would never take us to McDonald's or any fast food to eat. The closest we got to a fast food was hot dogs every Friday night. My dad would do that. He would give my mom a break in the kitchen, and he would do um, hot dogs with mustard, ketchup, and onions on it. And I remember as my fondest memory, I remember my dad in the kitchen fixing each one of us hot dogs. And every now and then on Sunday mornings, he would go and fix what they call a catfish chow. And he made such a great catfish chow, but I hated it because it had so many bones in it. But I still, my brother today, he says, oh, I remember how dad used to fix it. And I said, really? He says, yeah. And he would just give me the ingredients. And I said, yeah, that does sound like something that like it was, but he used to take all day in the kitchen on Sundays. Oh, I hated it when he would cook, because when you get up early in the mornings, you get you something light to eat, and you go outside for the whole day. And by the time you get back, he's just now finishing up. I said, oh my gosh, all day long, you weren't allowed. Once you go out the door, you weren't allowed to come in and say you wanted something to eat. It's too many berries on the bush out there. You got the grapevine, you got the scopobanana vine, you got the pear tree. You just, I didn't even realize that was a gold mine. It really was a gold mine. The things that we got for free, and now I think back now, the blackberries. I love blackberries, and I remember I used to get these things off the tree and make a grape juice out of, a blackberry juice out of it. But now you go in the stores and get $4 and $5 just a little container of it.
No, that is poverty. When you have to pay for it, that's poverty.
Yes. But those were what we called the good old days. And so yeah, some of the childhood memories were good. They were good. I learned a lot. I wish that my sons would have experienced some of the things that we experienced as children. I remember the days when my brothers would get out there and make go-karts. Go-karts, and we would get the wheels, and I look back at it now, think about it now, and it were all jacked up, but they worked. They would work. We would make skates, and I mean, we made when you don't have television, and we grew up, we didn't even have a television. I didn't have a television in the home until I was 13. So all those many days, years, we would use our creativity, our mind to imagine different things, and we did a lot of drawing, a lot of reading, and just I wish I could go back and in those days and know now what I know now. I would have appreciated it a little bit more. But yeah, those are my days of reminiscing. It was something else somebody said. Oh, Doris, I wish I could taste your grandmother's sponge cake, because that should be an interesting way of baking a cake. Fire on the top, fire on the bottom. I can't even imagine what that looks like. I can imagine the fire on the bottom, but the top, I mean, was it face up? Was it face down? I just can't imagine what that would look like, so kudos to grandmother's sponge cake.
Well, back then,
she's going to get a picture for you, because I'm sure it's still around a
Yes.
That she can really get a picture somewhere and show you what it is, because it's interesting to see. That was our oven.
yes.
Oh, okay.
Those big drum pans, so you have the fire in the bottom, and then you put grill, right, in the center of it, and then the fire on top of the pan itself. Yeah?
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah, that's how it is.
okay.
And then we also had a mud oven. There is mud oven that you bake bread. That, but that's something, I don't even know if they have that around anymore. They used to have one in McDonald College. So when you get your break on your lunch break, everybody would be lined up in front. They getting hot bread and butter or hot bread and cheese right from that mud oven.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was, oh my gosh, John, mom and stuff used to sell a lot of, I think a lot of that stuff too, like patties and, fudge
Uh,
and all that good stuff. Oh my gosh, those were the good old days. School days, oh my God, nothing like school days back in the island. You can't wait for lunch when you get bread and salami, bread and cheese, you know. Oh my God. And you remember that they used to make that snow cone in the plastic bag, snow ice.
Snow Ice.
Yes, in
Yeah.
the
Until I
frozen.
find out that I'm allergic to the bags.
Didn't they make it into
But
a
it's stuff
cone,
so
a
you
cup
have
sort of
some,
first?
huh?
Didn't they not make it into a kind of a cup and you just drop this and then put the
Oh no,
syrup?
that's a snow cone. That's a
Oh
That's
snow
yes,
snow.
cone.
snow cone. Okay.
Yeah,
Yes,
but they have
snow
the
cone.
one with a plastic bag.
Oh yes,
And
yeah.
every time you wonder, well,
They
why
call
my
it
mouth
juice. It's
swollen?
not
Oh,
bad
my
juice.
face is swollen. I can't talk good. Until we get to find out, no, you're allergic to the bag. So now you take it out of the bag. You crush it in the cup and you eat it like that. It wasn't fair, but it was okay.
But it was fun days. And
Oh yeah, I had
Veronica,
some fun days with old people.
yes.
Now,
And Veronica talk about being mischief. So confession is good for the soul. So let me tell you what I did to my great grandfather.
Mm.
I'm not
My
gonna confess
grandfather,
nothing today.
my grandfather smoked, and the pipe. They have the older people had pipe. They smoked the tobacco. So my grandfather had a pipe that he smoked his tobacco. And the house back home under the house, they have all these ledges. You could go under the house and hide things. So I took my my great grandfather pipe and hid it under the house. That was a wicked child. So he would smoke the pipe and smoke the tobacco. And my grandfather, I never gave him the pipe, and he never knew I took his pipe. Went and bought another one. So, Lord forgive me.
Yes.
Lord forgive me. I hit my great granddad pipe and let him go buy another one and didn't give him now, because now I don't want him to know that I was the one who hit the pipe.
That
So,
is, oh my gosh.
so that,
I
that
think
was
I
the
want to
nice.
confess.
That was a nice thing to do. I hit his pipe and didn't say nothing, but he bought another one when he couldn't find it. So up to today, I don't think he knew that I hit and that I took that pipe and hit it.
Father,
So
if he's looking
but
up.
as children, but talking about all those things, you make you think back then, the things you did as a child, you bring back memories. So you brought back that memory about me and my grandfather pipe. And I know I hit it under the house on the ledge. And he bought another one. But talking about Tomboy Veronica, I didn't know about slingshots.
Oh,
So that
yes.
you know what I did with the slingshots? Try to shoot the birds. I'll be making those slingshots and gathering heap of stone and trying to shoot the birds.
Oh, yeah,
when
we
they're
did
in the
that too.
trees. Yes. And I used to go fishing in the river. You take a piece of string and you put bait in the end. We used to, they have like a can or something, you tie it around it. So that was fishing back in the days. We didn't know about hook. Or you use a piece of stick and you put the thread in the end of it and you go in the river try to fish. But I wonder,
Yes.
let me tell you something. I wonder, I don't think there is any girls in Grenada who could have picked breadfruit and jelly off a tree with stone.
With stone?
With stone. I think I was the only girl in Grenada that could have done that.
What are you, David?
When I want a breadfruit, hey, when I want a breadfruit, nobody to climb the tree. You can't reach it. I would gather a heap of stone and I would stand there and take aim and I would pick that breadfruit off that tree, tree. And I did the same thing with coconuts and jelly on those trees. And the funny thing is, there was a man that come, that's to tell you how people remember things. There was a gentleman who used to come to my grandfather's house that were friends. And years after I went back to Grenada, he died now, God rest his soul. I went to his shop. He and his wife had a grocery store. And I went to the shop to get a soft drink. And he remembered that and was telling the people in the shop, he said, let me tell you something about this lady right here. And he remembered that. He said, I sat there and watched her get a stone and prick breadfruit off the tree. Like, I can't tell you what he said, and she don't miss,
That stone got to be flat on one side.
So, no, if you aim it good, because breadfruit had stems. So there is a space between the breadfruit itself and the branch in the tree. So you try to hit it right where it's in the stem of that tree. But you see, I used to pick mangoes.
Genius.
And I used to do a lot of stuff. And yeah, I used to do it. And he remembered that. So it's amazing things people remember about you as a child who came around that you don't even, you didn't even imagine they remember. So when he brought that up, it was very funny. I had a good laugh. I said, oh my God, you remember that? He said, yes. So people remember things about us that we don't even remember ourselves sometimes, and remind us of it.
Doris,
so great.
You just jarred my memory about one of the times that all the kids in the neighborhood went to go fishing, and we ended up all of us ended up in the pond skinny dipping. I don't know if y'all know that terminology or not, but skinny dipping, that you took off everything and got in the water and started swimming. And I remember coming home, somehow or another, my clothes got wet. Maybe everybody else got in. I can't remember exactly, but I remember coming home with wet clothes, and my mom said, "How did your clothes get wet?" And I said, "Oh, we were skinny dipping." And I got my butt tore up. I got my butt tore up over skinny dipping and coming home with wet clothes. My mom said, "Don't you ever do that again, ever." So this time here, she didn't tell my dad, but if she would have told my dad, oh my God, she would have tore my butt up, and then he would have really did it in, but great memories, of mischievousness. I have many stories.
Well,
I want to share just with my grandfather. He was a funny man. He didn't talk very much. My grandparents now by my dad's side, he didn't talk very much. But we have huge properties, and he knew every fruit on every tree. Where the banana grow. Where they are, the oranges and everything. But I can tell you, the following day wouldn't find it though. We had so many spots that we hid them. And you'd be looking for a banana. I said, I sure leave a banana. Didn't I leave this here yesterday? And you call us all the grandchildren. There was oranges on the tree. There was mangoes there. So where did it go? And everybody's mouth was shut because we couldn't talk. We all have secret place where we hide the fruits, right? And sometimes when we hide the fruits, by the time we get there, one of us gone there and already eat it. So you think you're hiding for yourself. Somebody who know the spot, go and check the spot and eat it, and you come back thinking that you're gonna find it. You don't. So we learned not to keep the same hiding spots. But he was very quiet, man. I didn't say, but if we do something, he would say, I'm gonna give you a spanking. That's all we could hear. And we say, you know what? He's coming late at night to do it when we were sleeping. So we'd go under the bed. Would I bend the door and would hear him coming after us. We would be in the corner, his belt going this way, back way, trying to get us, but he couldn't catch us, right? So by the time he make a move, we'd dash through the living room, unlock the door, run around in a circle, lock the door from him. We did lots of funny stuff so he wouldn't get us to spank us at all, right? Because he said, I'm going to give you a spanking. And we know if we catch any one of us, we're going to get it. So at all times when we get in the house at nights, we'd make sure, stay alert, that he wouldn't catch none of us at all. And we would so the door would lock the door if we run through and he's coming around, lock the door quickly and then run under the bed. We do funny stuff. But he was a really, really cool grandfather, and he didn't talk at all, but always busy in his farm, like in the field, take care of the goats, the cows, and the trees. He just take care of everything. But we really enjoyed him because he didn't yell. You don't hear him yelling, and you know that one day he's going to give one of us a spanking. That's all we remember. I'm going to give you a spanking. That's all we can remember. But it was really, really cool. We enjoy spending great time with him because he never spanked us. He just keeps saying that, but he never did. So, but we enjoy both of them company. They were just soft-spoken family. But when they look at you, you know that there's a discipline, you've done something wrong. But they were pretty cool grandparents. I'm telling you, nothing we lack on the property. We lack nothing. Instead, we were the one that would go and gather the fruits, gather everything to sell it to the community. We had chores to do, to collect stuff and pick up fruit time, go take this here, go visit here with this box and do these things. So we were pretty busy. And I think that's the reason why I don't think he'd be bothered to think of disciplining us in the way he would, because we were so active in being involved in taking care of things to sell and to prepare in the evenings or take the goats out or come back in and do all the different chores. So those, I believe he was looking at that, we were helping him as well as us helping ourselves, learning something, right? So in spite of that, we think every day he was going to give us a spanking. That's all. We just make sure we're not there. When the night comes, stay far and watch your grandpa is. So I remember that very carefully about my grandfather. He's such a loving grandfather. He really did. And I just want to share that as they get older, you tend to love them even more because of what they've done and then able to help themselves. You want to spend that quality time with them. But now that I'm talking about it, those memories are so fun. They're funny. They're just great experience and life lessons. So I enjoy my grandparents. They were fun. My great grandparents. They were really, really fun to be around. Minister Tex, let's hear you. Let's hear it, all those elders. Come on, share with us all those.
I had the best time growing up because I was always with old people. On from one to the other, to the other, to the other. So I was always the center of attention. So the other side of things is what I would not talk about today, but I had fun. When the Saturday come and my mom have to go in the market, nobody goes because nobody want people to see us holding the basket. You kidding me? To bring home? No way. So we used to just kind of skid everybody will run. I'll let you alone bring it. Huh?
I think you're leaving out some details of this story, ain't it?
And the reason why I said much earlier are some things I would not talk about. We used to go, man, I always was with boys. So we go on the beach. Well, it's not really a beach, but it's a place like you go across by where the police station was in town, and you get to jump over. So you will take off all your clothes, and we just used to gun it and come back and all your clothes wet. And your father said, well, so where have you been? Oh, with the dudes, and then he would let me know you're a girl and they're guys. He don't understand there was dudes. Like when you're young, you're dudes. There is no separation of sex. There is no gender. There is no boy and there is no girl. I'm the oldest girl there. So I'm part of the dude family. And you have your shirt and behind your neck because that's where and they had this shirt. I was late in life, okay? So I was not developed. So I was a boy for a long time. So you just do things as boys do. And we used to run in the morning from Tongue to Grandhands. That's when I got a little bigger. but I had a good time. There was this one old lady, she would call. Oh, I'm making some pudding today. I'm making some pudding today. I was not a nice child sometimes. So I would just she has stuff to grate, and you grate, and she'll give you more coconut. Like, why? You see me as a child, you asked me to grate coconut. So I used to grate it for her in a different way. Don't ask me now. So it's to grate it for her. So I'd bite it, and then I would okay, it was too much work for me. So I just used to do it the fastest way I know how. You see, I told you guys I had a good time. I had the best, best with people. So, they used to make cake for me. They used to make fudge, and they would not leave me alone. No matter what I do, they wouldn't leave me. They'll call me, especially that. Are you coming over? No, I'm busy. I'm today. Come. I have something for you. I'm busy today. I'm busy, and they will still tell you come. So you just go there and you hang out there with them. And just, oh, you know what? We're gonna make pudding today. I said, no, I'm not grating coconut. Man, you fast at it. Come. Yeah. Okay, you clean it. You clean it up. And I grated for her.
Oh my
So I have
God.
a lot
Text.
of
Text.
what?
Text to make me think about something my grandfather said one day, whether it's true or not. Man, there was this little lady who made coconut tarts. So I used to buy tart from her. So one day my grandfather said, after I eat the tart, he would say, huh, when I was fasting today, I saw Miss Allen chewing the coconut with her teeth. So now I want
And again,
I'm wondering that was true.
I was small. You have to understand. I was small. There's a lot of things that I don't want to do. If I don't want to do it, my God, I said, I'm not coming. I'm not coming. Just get it. I'm not coming to help you do nothing. But I will still call you. So I just they used to do the faster way for her. And then you drink the juice down, and then you just go, you just give it a hug.
I would never forget that story. Never forget it.
Now I would never forget Miss Allen because text make me wonder if my grandfather was being truthful.
Hey, they have a lot of good children. They have a lot of way how to do good at, not just my way.
Oh my gosh.
Boy, I tell
And,
you.
I used to climb tree. I used to climb the breadfruit tree in town. Why I used to climb, I don't know. I just used to climb tree. I climb in coconut tree. Just anything that could stand still, I'm climbing it. It doesn't matter. So I was a good climber. And
Text.
in the night, I just do bad things. In the night, I used to do wrong things. Like we go down in the carnage and make sure I have a bag of stone. Why? I have no idea. I stone in house, we stone in dog. We teasing people. And one night, coming through Grandma Street, up where the police giving signal, down in the back down there. And as I turn around by the feed center, by the, what's that place name again? Um, is it called I'm Nutmeg. When I reach around the corner there, who I see was my father. You ever see dog stop in midair? He didn't even see me. The speed I was going with, he didn't even make me out. As I see him, the next step like this was a U-turn. When I reach up and he reach up after him, Hexer. I'm sitting to myself, why is she calling me? And I'm breathing, I'm breathing, hey, daddy. But I sure I saw her hear me, No, you see, I couldn't say was not me because that would have been licked. So I just answer and then I go back to Tanty Baby. That's another the old lady. So I just used to I don't know. I used to tease people. I used to, at one time, my God, my father really took in for me. This man named, a certain name, I'm in Grenada, he used to drive his car. Slow, slow, slow. And when you see the kids, like he want to speed off. So, hey, my father is here, he can't do me nothing. So I jump on his car and he speed off. So as he speed off now and he put his car in reverse and he come back, the car hit me.
Oh,
Father ever dealt with him. And Miss Cindy was watching. She said, "You know you was wrong." I said, "Ah, my father is going to deal with him." And then that was the last time that I hop his car. I never hop his car. There's another one called Joe Pitt. John Friend. It's children. Like he's driving Amos truck and just taking out all the drinks one by one before he gets on top of the hill. So by the time he get there, he probably have just 2 cases of drinks out of 20 something cases. He probably just had 2 cases because he's just sharing it. As he's driving, he's just sharing the drinks out. See, and my father said that yeah, I'm the only innocent child on the block. I was. My father said I was the best child. I don't care what anybody say.
Oh my gosh.
speaking of teasing, I remember one time when we first learned about the yellow jacket. Y'all know the yellow jacket that stings, that causes swellingness. Well, my brother Bernard, he got bit by a yellow jacket on the lip. And every time his lips swelled up so big, it was over his nose. I mean, it was just way, and it was just one, I think the top lip. And every time I would see this lip here, I mean, I just could not help myself. It would just tickle me to see. And my mom said, yes, Veronica, she said, Veronica, stop laughing. But I could not stop. Every time I see his lip, it would just make me laugh.
So
And
you had no mercy?
I had no mercy. It was just something about that lip that caused me to just laugh. And I remember experiencing that when I was a child. And then when I got into middle school, I had a teacher named well, I won't name his name, but he had he used to walk, he had back problems. And the way his back is like his waist would be lying one way and his hip would be lying another way.
Like
And
an
like a S. And I don't know why, but I found that to be so funny and hilarious. And he was like my favorite teacher. But when I found out he had that he was walking like that, I could not. I mean, I got in trouble for days. Back in those days, they used to give you like in the back of the math book, you had to write down the definitions. So I would get like 50 definitions that you got to bring in the next day, right? So I would write the definition. I would go back the next day and I would still laugh because every time I saw him and he would walk, it just something about that just tickled me. I mean, not just laugh. I mean, like rolling on the floor laughing. It was just
no.
something about it that just tickled me. And I remember I got up to 500 definitions in the back of the book. I had to bring it. And after 500 definitions, I was still laughing. I just could not stop laughing. And talking about mischievous times and stuff. But yeah, teasing was it was not.
I used to get in trouble. I used to fight in school.
Oh,
And the reason why I used to fight in school is like there are certain children that would come to school and they wouldn't have lunch, yeah? And certain children would bring lunch. So it's so easy. Those that have lunch, all they have to do is to share. If you see me coming, just automatically share with people. So I used to just take the lunch and give it to the people that don't have. So they'll call my mom. That woman. And she would beat me right in the presence of everybody in the school.
Oh my God.
Oh, she get welcome into her. So those are the things that I used to do. I used to fight. I used to fight because I was angry. I used to fight because the way how she treat me. I used to take it out in children. The way how they treat me, I used to take it out in children. So that's why I used to fight and don't care about education, don't care about nothing. Yeah, when I travel, then I learned. So what? That was my attitude.
X, you
Simple
talk
that.
about
Yeah,
climbing tree. I used
yeah.
to climb,
Anything that's got the freedom climbing it.
I used to climb trees. But are you familiar with something home is similar to wasp, what we call them my bones, so my bones that they build a nest?
Mhm.
Well, you ever climb a tree yet and you're up on the tree and you see a mango and you shake the branch because you can reach it and realize there is one of those on that branch?
No, I
Listen.
was not about it. How are you coming down? I would have jumped from where I was.
I jumped off the mango tree.
Yeah, because
And
it's mud
let me
at the
tell you,
bottom.
you're running and they're running, they're flying after you. You find out how fast you could run in those cases. I am running and I'm looking back and they're coming and you hear them making that noise. Let me
Why
tell
they
you.
used to come though? I don't understand why they're coming. If you leave the tree, why would they want to follow you? That's why I don't understand. With bees.
Because they sting you. They're trying to get to you, they'll sting you. So you have to run and you're running and they're coming and they're making that funny noise, like that buzzing sound. And I'm telling you, you're running and you're looking back for them and you see they're coming in that swarm. And let me tell you, you pick up speed you don't have trying to get away from those things. So I learned how fast I could have run that time when I see them coming and I'm trying to get away and running to get home. And they're flying after you. Oh my God, that's the worst experience. Mm-mm-mm-mm. After that, I learned to look at trees are climbing and make sure there is none.
In town, we didn't have much of those things because I never saw them. It's only here. I see a lot of those my bone and beads and all. My gosh, they're peasants. I don't like them.
Uh,
We talk
listen.
about trees. Oh, so okay.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about climbing trees. I was a poor camper. You can't go. You don't tag me along with you going to places because I cannot climb. I remember going with my cousins there, for the day. You go for the day for go pick mangoes or travel to somebody's house. You're just gone for the day as children, right, cousins? And you have to be careful, right? Because you don't know what's around. So you have to be prepared to climb a tree faster than the thing. I was a poor camper for climbing. I start, but I couldn't go any further. so, so I was not the greatest camper when you think about going for a walk in the woods for a whole day to meet up somebody's house and then make a detour. You travel to visit everybody else that day. No, as soon as something happened, they said, climb the tree. Oh my God, I was just hug the tree and I freeze. I couldn't go any further. And they're pulling me up, pulling me up, pulling me up. And I goes, and I would be tired. So I don't think I was the one to go with them anymore. When it come to going out to visit in the bushes and all that. I don't think they're really interested in taking me along because I couldn't climb tree. As quick as they'd want me to do it, I couldn't, I freeze. So I decided when they're going, I said, no, I'm not going because I know that I couldn't manage that climbing tree. And even today, I still cannot climb a tree, really. I'm poor at it.
Mm-mm. I grew up, listen, I was the only girl. So, I was my grandparents' pet because I was the only girl. They had all boys. The only daughter died in the Hurricane Janet in 1955. So all the children were boys. So I was the girl that they brought up. And, my parents left me with them. So I was the pet. So I was like the queen. But I was also the one that, everything. I used to pick cocoa, climb nutmeg tree, pick up nutmeg, all the things. I love to go in the garden because I did all that thing. But one of the things, I love, listen, I used to love to go in people garden and get the mangoes. So we had a neighbor that had land in boundary with us. So every time the man go in the garden, you would see when he come, because he passes our house, and we would see when he leaves his garden. So I used to watch him because he have a mango julie tree, and we don't have a mango julie. So after he leave and go, and I see he come in the garden and go, I would go over and go get mango julie. So one day he left, and I decided to go over and climb the mango julie tree now to go pick mangoes. While up on the mango tree, who I see? The man came back. And they always talking about how the man is a bad man, the man is this, and the man come and I see coming across with the garden, and he have a cutlass in his hand. So I can't go.
I was not going to come down.
No, I couldn't go down now. So what I did, I started climbing higher to try to hide between some branches where if you look up, you can't see me. And I keep climbing up and trying to go. And I'm saying, God, please don't let him look up. And that man came, he walked around, he walked under the mango tree, but never looked up. And I had to wait until then he started going the other way. As soon as he was out of sight, boy, I flagged up that mango tree and I go down the hill and I ran until I get home. So, thinking about all those things, though, it was fun, So, going in people's garden. I used to go cut his cane too. He had a whole cane field.
Oh.
So every time he come in his hand and he go, I'll be timing him and I'll be going and get my cane. But as children, back then, those were just fun. You do those things for fun. It's not like you think you're stealing or you're doing anything like that. It was so much of it. The mango was falling on the ground, rotting and stuff. So when they don't know, you go get mangoes, you go cut cane. We had another neighbor too, with land. Every time he come and go in the land, I used to go dig yam. He have tons of it. He don't dig in it. He ain't doing nothing with it. So I want a yam, I go dig a yam. But those were fun in those days. I mean, and I think about the days, and I don't think anybody have childhood days. If you didn't enjoy it, well, you missed out a lot. Because you think about the fun things you did now. Now you think of it as being wrong. Now that you learn so much and know better, you think going in somebody's land and cut the cane or whether get mango or dig a yam or, go get some banana, you look at it, well, that is not wrong because it's considered stealing. But back as a child in our days, those things, we didn't look at it like that because we didn't know better. But I think about it now and I laugh about it because it's funny and it was fun,
The things that we do as children.
Mm-hmm.
But I think after our generation, things changed so much because I went back home and then you see children now, young children pregnant. And I'm asking myself, what was I doing that I didn't have a boyfriend at that time to get pregnant? And you watch little children, you ask them their age and they say 16, 15. I said, well, what was I doing? Like, where was I? Like, this kind of life passed me? Because I was so taken up in teasing people, in running, in doing all kind of mischief. And you hear children say, now you see they sit down inside, even back home, and they're watching TV. You watching what? You in Grenada, you're watching TV? You know how much fun it have outside there? And now I have, I'm two children. Why? Like, how you got them? And the how did not mean to come out to ask them how, but it just come out. Like, I think we were the last generation of happiness. After us, there is no generation of happiness after us. Those that come after us, they just grow up fast. And they have children for no reason at all. They just have children. They either get raped or touched by the father or the brother. Listen to me. Man, I'm in my house and you know how much wrongs I'm making naked? My father used to say, I thought you said that you're big. Yeah, I'm today. Yeah, well, So right now, I just come out to the shower. I don't need nobody to talk to me. And you're walking in front of everybody. Yeah, I'm naked. My mom is queen of nakedness, so that's okay. Everybody just walk. Don't worry about anything. And you find people now they're hiding. They think you're covering up. You're hiding. That's when people get violated very early. They're scared. It's not their shame. They're just scared to keep themselves uncovered because of people invade them. And that's something, if somebody is not comfortable in that way, you just kind of leave it. I have no problem being naked. I dare somebody to touch me when I'm naked. No, that's the problem. I'm a fighter. Let me
You
do the
know,
wrong thing.
speaking of being naked, I remember as a child, my mom used to walk around the house naked. I mean, not a stitch of clothes on. She used to say, if you don't like it, get out and go outside and play like children supposed to play. And
My
that's
mother would
when I,
come from town and she come home. Oh God, get it off, get it off, get what off, get it off, just get it off for me, get it off. And then I mean, give her either a half slip or you give her a towel or a sheet. She want a sheet, she double it in two and then she wrap it around her. And I think that's where yeah, I get it from. We just there's
yeah,
nobody there. We bathe.
that's that's when I learned that women put on clothing without underwear. My mom was one one of those women that just never put on underwear. So that doesn't make sense. I feel naked without it.
Oh no, even better. It makes you feel very, very comfortable. You can breathe. Take it from me. You breathe much better.
Yeah, well, at
You
night you do, but I mean, like going out among people, she would just not wear any underwear at all. She
don't
just,
make a mistake and forget. I mean, you just forget, but you
yeah,
still gorgeous anyway. You don't have to tell anybody.
yeah,
You're just
yeah.
gorgeous. Just being comfortable with you as an individual, you look at life totally different.
Mm,
Because people would take that away from you and they will tarnish you. But when you begin to accept you for you, you just, when I finish here, I take everything off. If I go to the bathroom, what I pull down does not come back up. You just get something else and you put on a shirt, put on a big dress, put something on. Don't worry about life.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
So this was a nice show today. Soothing and quiet. It was nice. A time of fun and laughter. Yeah, a long time I didn't have a show like that. The first time I did one like this was like May Doris and Teresa. We talk about cake and the things that we do to cake when our mother. You know when your mother bake cake and she says nobody get and you're asking her and she says nobody getting it's hot you're gonna get tomorrow. While you stay up and you bite right around it. So that way nobody could accuse you of eating it. And then she said, "Geez, does it have rat?" And nobody said anything. And then and she says, "Okay, I'll throw it out." I said, "Okay, just give it to me. I'll cut the top off and I'll eat the bottom." She said, "You think about yesterday? I didn't know what you would bite the whole cake right around." And I didn't to answer her. It doesn't make sense answering her. What does it sense? I said, "Just cut it off the top and just give me the bottom." I got away with that for a very long time until one day she decided to stay up and I eat the bread the devil needed. Hey, but I had some good time. I had the
Like,
best time in life.
Those times your parents wasn't very harsh, at you. They see it, right? But they weren't very, some parents, depends on the parents and the household you're from. They didn't see it very harsh to say they're gonna discipline you for every move you make, every turn you turn, because that could be sometimes very painful. But in a place where your parents just see it as, well, let's this one slide by, it's a learning lesson. I'm not gonna, get angry at this one. But at the same time, that what you did was not okay. that's a, I mean, that's good. But for some people who didn't have that kind of upbringing, you just think about the next generation, or do they take that kind of harshness to their generation? The next generation, as we would say. So, so your upbringing says a lot, that what you do, or healthy it is, you're going to pass it on. How harsh it was, you can also pass it on, which is going to be negative, right? So you have to balance it to know that if you go through certain things as you get, as your childhood days, what is it you're passing on? Some things don't need to be passed on, it's a learning lesson. But at the same time, bring up the child so they will know some things that they do is not going to be right. But don't say, oh, I did pass through that, this had happened, that this have to happen to you. I mean, those are good, parental or morally good things you do for your generation. So, we talk about our children. We want, what do we pass on to them? What do we pass on? How our parenting skill go on to our next generation? Because we're concerned about our generation, what we're seeing. And we think about, what did we pass on to give to them? So that's make it, a learning lesson for us today, to say, if we had made any errors in what we do, how can we correct some things that we do still to our children and grandchildren? How we can bring on means to an hand for some things we do, but still carry on a legacy of the lifestyle of, positiveness and what we go through, to make it a fun time for them. So we can do it, we can learn so many things from what we spoke on today, so many different things we can draw from ourselves. So I enjoy that today. I enjoy today.
And the
I
other thing
enjoyed it.
is, as you get older, learn to look back and forgive your parents. Because if you really check the age you are now and you check the age of your parents actually bring children up, right? So they learn as they come up, as they grew up now in having us. What they know, they don't know anything. So they make children and the children become like their dolly toys. So they really don't know how to handle us. But we now, we come up and this last generation here, we make kids late. So we understand a lot of things before well, that we really had our children, because that you would hear like and the mom will know the father is touching the child, and she will stay quiet. Now in our generation, quiet not, hey, how you mean get out? Get out. Get out. In our generation now, we wouldn't take that, because why? He become as the big man of the house, and the mother is like the little children. She don't know whether to say yes, whether to say no, whether to hide. So they grow up not knowing much, and then they just grow with us. So learn as you grow older. Learn to forgive. If your mother has done something to you, forgive her and just let it go. Just let it go. Let it go. It make no sense carrying it. Because check your age and check her age. She probably made you what? That when she was 12, 13, 14 years old. And then you're holding thing against her. Think of your age now. Were you 14 and 15 years old and when you give birth? No. So you have a little bit more wisdom than her. Because they were hungry, and the so-called word called poor, and they walk in bare feet, they have to go to school and they have to jog the water. Did you come and jog water? No. Did you walk and bare feet? No. My mother never used to like us to go in the country, especially you with that 2 foot. Sit here, stay here. Because I didn't like the mud. That's the only thing I don't like the country for, the mud. And I just think in the mud it have worms. So that's my thing. I'll cry. So that's why she just sit down, sit down. Where's the Bible? Just give her the Bible. Let us sit down in the corner there. But parents really, really try their best and with us as children. Did they always do it right? No. Our fathers, did they always do it right? No. But check the age of our fathers, check the age of the mothers, and see, well, he messed up as much as she messed up. Because he come and he give her kids, and then he gone somewhere else and he give somebody kids, or he drinking rum, or he doing something on the side of the road. And it have some fathers that come and did well. So as we grow, I don't know which part of yours, but as we grow, to everybody, let us learn to forgive our parents and our grandparents. Let us learn to forgive them, because the age different, man. Ask yourself, are you that age today? If so, what could you do better? And we all did better. We all stay longer to give birth. We stay longer to get married. It had some people like in that era, they never got married, and they stayed together for so much years. You think we gonna do that now? So you hear about a year now. So how things is going? We asking questions now. They didn't ask, because all they learned was to keep quiet. We not staying quiet. No, this generation here staying quiet. So let us, as we continue to grow in life, let us learn to forgive them. So in our upbringing of children, it's going to be totally different. See, my son waited until he was what, 33, 32, to get married and then to have children. Then he have the nerve to come and say, "Hey, mom, I beat you. I beat you. I have 2 children. Whoopee!" And I didn't marry at 25 like you and dad. Whoopee! I beat you guys. I mean, yeah. So you have more knowledge than us. He has 2 children. God bless him. I only had one, but I had 5. He didn't know that I had 5 in one. I was raising 5 children. Think about he alone was a handful and a half. So let us learn to forgive and stop holding our parents up in our heart when God already released them from their own sin. You still holding them jack up. Oh, you remember what you did to me? You dad, you remember what you did to me? Well, he don't listen. He forget he don't know anything. Huh? What are you talking about? Then you go back now. You rehashing things to the poor man not even know anything. Just well, when did that happen? What proof do you have? Now they have sense. So what proof do you have? My memory. Let's leave them alone. A man that know better always do better. A woman that know better will always do better. When you don't know, you don't know. Yeah. So we come to the end of the program, and it's 4:28. I love this program today. Yesterday was one, today was a quiet one, and tomorrow it's going to be a hot, hot, hot one, because our pastor is going to be here tomorrow. So let's send some ideas and some thoughts. Veronica, ideas and thoughts. You have a lot in your hand, and your friend did not call me. Tell him to call me.
Okay, I will definitely. Doris has all the good ideas. Doris comes up. Doris come up with great ideas. She just had to share. She just had to share them.
Doris. What tonight is Tuesday night? So we have intimacy and marriage tonight at 8:00. I think I'm sleeping. I'm going to sleep tonight.
No, you're not.
I'm
No,
going
you're
to
not.
sleep for a week.
If you're not there, who
I
John
wanna
is going to
sleep,
pick
man.
on?
I know, right? We need somebody to pick on, right?
We need somebody to pick on. John need you to pick on.
I'm going to gain some knowledge and I'm going to shock him. Yeah?
Yes. Yes. Shock him. Shock all of us.
You guys just make me so uncomfortable, and all you don't know, all you think is fun. It's not fun. Because sometimes my day and I just want to just close everything up so no sin can go through. It's not easy. That's how bad it feels.
It's all in fun.
That's how bad it
It's just fun,
Yeah.
fun.
It's fun when one person pick on you, but when everybody pick on you at the same time. I'm bringing on a sheet tonight. I have a big sheet. When all we're talking, it's going to cover everything, and all we're going to talk under that sheet. I'll listen. I'll be right here. The world is going to say, "Is that text that covering her head?" So sad when people get to know you. Love you all. We come to the end of this show now, saying bye bye. Continue to encourage others, bring others onto the show. Let's have a bigger, you know what? Let's work to have a bigger audience. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. We can have like a nice show and we mute everybody and everybody will put up, I would go on the thing and put a hand up or next hand and say, next, next, next. This is no, that'd be nice. So let's work to have a bigger audience. Doesn't matter. And they come on and they can't talk. That's okay. Just do as Doris. The next time they come, they'll talk. Then you can't shut them up. When they get comfortable here, it's very comfortable. Nobody shuts up here. Love you guys. Mwah. See you guys tonight.
Love you too.
See you
See you
tonight.
Yeah,
tonight.
see you tonight.
All Gemfm Radio, Radio Land.
Oh yeah, and hello, Radioland, and Mr. Mohammed at John Workplace. Mr. Mohammed, mwah. I know he does that. And those on Gemfm
All Gemfm
Facebook
families are
page.
listening in.
Yeah,
Yes, we love you, Gemfm family.
Yes, we do.
Yep, we love you guys.
Love you.
Tune in.
Keep
Bye-bye.
sharing
Mwah.
more and more and more, right? Keep sharing. Love you.
Love you guys.
Okay, bye-bye.
Love you guys.